Welcome back, day 2 in the field. Working with the same methods we did yesterday, but today we want to talk a little bit about species and what they mean and what they can indicate. So first, this is a species we look at a lot for the research I'm doing. This is the Grewia monticola, it's the scientific name, or the silver raisin bush is also a little bit easier of a name. It's part of the Grewia species, so there's different ones like the silver raisin, the velvet raisin, I think there's a white raisin, stuff like that, but we don't see much of those here. Mostly the velvet and the silver, but the silver raisin is known to be a pioneer species and can become problematic for farmers in the area because it has a tendency to encroach on trees. And I'll talk about what we talked a little bit about encroachment before, but so how we identify it, it's kind of hard because it's winter time, but we know what they look like now. It's these leaves right here. The shape of the leaves are kind of straight and pointy at the end versus the other one that is a little bit more rounded on the tip and wider leaf. So that's how we identify this. These bushes can grow from shrub small size, half a meter, to larger sizes. So this is the first example, but this is the one I want to show. So this is 3.5 meters about, and it can become very problematic. So we'll go look at some trees and show you. A little bit about the blackthorn. As you can tell, it hooks to you because I just got caught trying to get this picture. There we go. But characteristic of the blackthorn is these small leaves, circular, kind of an oval shape, and the pattern also. And then what is most characteristic is their thorns. They're literally black hooks, indicative of the name Swartak in Afrikaans, which literally just means black hook. But yeah, this is of the acacia family, and it's a beautiful tree. You can see it's wintertime now, but it's starting to blossom. Let me see. Here, these pretty like purpley magenta looking flowers. So yeah, that's the blackthorn. But what I also wanted to talk about in this was the encroachment that's happening on this tree. You can see if you come through here, just looking above for snakes as usual, that these Grewias that we talked about a minute ago are coming closer and closer to the root of the tree. And that is because it is resource competition. So trees have deeper roots than shrubs and grasses do. So for these pioneer species, they want to take resources in a dry, variable climate. They want to take resources from the tree because it makes it easier for them to survive. So if they're not managed, and in today's Anthropocene, where there's a lot of human management of the land, you have to make your priorities of how you want to manage your land. And in this case, bush clearing is a big priority for managers, and that's happening a lot on this farm, but this area has not been cleared in a while. But yeah, so that's what's happening with the bush encroachment, and that's what a lot of my work is about, is understanding why the ecological patterns linked to management processes. Okay, we are at our next area, and something I want to talk about is the nature of savanna landscapes and the fact that they are heterogeneous. If that's how you say it. I'm not very good with big words, but I know what it means at least. So what is that? It's opposite, right? So in a lot of landscapes, you see a lot of homogeny across the land, so similarity is going to stay consistent. But savanna landscapes are what we call heterogeneous. So let me give you an example for this, because this is a good example of this. So you look around here, right? A lot of trees, a lot of shrubs, a high amount of canopy cover. I'll talk about the grass in a second, but there's this particular area has different grasses from the surrounding area, which is, you would think, well, why doesn't it grow over there, right? So a lot of canopy here, but then you walk back this way and you'll see that it completely changes. Not just the grass, but the soil patterns and the shrub patterns and the tree patterns, and just completely changes how it looks. There's another blackthorn like we talked about earlier. Another Grewia like we talked about earlier. You come out here and now it's open. Obviously not 100% open, there's still shrubs and whatnot, but you walk 50 meters and it completely changes. And that is a good example of heterogeneity. All right, everybody's gonna get sick of me talking about the macadamias, but we found a good example, or Autumn found a good example of the raisins and why it's called the raisin bush. You can see this one is absolutely giant. 3.5 meters if you get all the way to the back. It's a combo of all of them, but yeah. It's also called the brandy bush, I was reminded, which, don't ask me why everything has a million names, but yes, there we go. Here's an example of the raisin from the raisin bush. And what's interesting about these is that even though they can be ecologically problematic, when there's no other resources, the animals do like to eat on them. The browsers. The difference between browsers and grazers is grazers graze the grass. Browsers browse the trees or the bushes. There are examples of both, like zebras, right? Zebras are both. Kudus are both. What no? I don't know. Yeah, I think giraffes are both. Pretty sure. So, yep, just a little lesson on grazers versus browsers and the inside of the raisin bush.